September 3, 1978. Search operations log. Arrival recorded at 10:50 hours. A folded map rested on a small table. Its edges were aligned. The site was a fire lookout in the Bitterroot Range, near the Montana-Idaho divide. 8,000 feet, no assigned staff. The door handle turned. The door did not open. The latch was engaged from the inside. 6 weeks earlier, the door had been left unlatched. No key was present then. No key was present now. Inside, the cot, the blanket, and the map matched prior photographs exactly. No displacement was noted. The record offers no mechanism for that condition. The Bitterroot Range follows the Montana-Idaho divide across roughly 80 miles of federal land. Elevations climb from valley floors near 4,000 feet to peaks exceeding 9,000. Timber coverage is dense below 7,000 feet. Above that line, the terrain opens into alpine meadows and exposed ridgelines. Access from the east requires forest roads that narrow into seasonal tracks. Snow closes most routes from October through May. The western approaches are steeper, with fewer maintained corridors. Resupply during winter depends on helicopter clearance or foot travel. Fire lookout towers were constructed throughout this section, beginning in the early 1930s. Placement followed ridge access and sightline priorities. Most structures were decommissioned by the late 1970s as aerial surveillance became standard. One tower sat at 8,200 feet, positioned to monitor drainage systems flowing into both states. The installation date was recorded as 1934. Seasonal staffing continued until 1972. After that, the tower remained as a backcountry landmark, occasionally used for emergency shelter. Winter conditions in this zone are severe. Temperatures below zero are routine from December through February. Wind speeds frequently exceed 50 miles per hour on exposed summits. Ice accumulation can exceed several feet on structures lacking active maintenance. The tower's foundation was anchored into granite. The cabin measured 12 feet square, elevated 14 feet above ground on steel supports. A single wooden door faced south. 2 windows provided visibility across the ridgeline. Interior furnishings included a cot, a small stove, and metal storage cabinets. Administrative records show no staffing assignments after 1972. The structure was marked as abandoned but not removed. Maintenance logs stop entirely after that year. Cartographic references place the tower 3 miles from the nearest trailhead. The approach involves 2,000 feet of elevation gain across unstable scree and unmarked forest. No cell signal reaches the area. Radio communication depends on line-of-sight relay. Spring thaw typically begins in late April. Snowpack can persist on northern exposures into June. Runoff destabilizes trails and erodes approach routes. Access during this period is not recommended without prior clearance. The tower's location falls within designated wilderness boundaries established in 1964. Mechanical transport is prohibited. All equipment and personnel movement occurs on foot or by animal pack. Survey data from the 1970s noted structural degradation. Rust was visible on support beams. The door's hinge mechanism showed corrosion. Window glass remained intact but was discolored. No interior inspection was conducted at that time. Regional fire management shifted to aerial detection by 1975. Ground-based lookout programs were discontinued across this district. Remaining towers were either removed or left in place as historical markers. Public access to the tower site was not restricted, but seasonal closures and terrain difficult limited visitation. Hikers occasionally reported reaching the location during summer months. No incidents were documented in those reports. The following material comes from administrative correspondence and field documentation maintained by the district office. Dates and locations are reproduced as recorded. No editorial interpretation has been applied. June 14, 1978. Seasonal trail crew reported sighting the tower during ridge maintenance operations. Structure appeared intact from external observation. No entry was attempted. Snowpack remained present on northern slopes. Visibility was clear. Crew resumed scheduled work without further investigation. June 29, 1978. Backcountry ranger noted tower during routine patrol. Approached within 50 yards. Door appeared closed. No obvious damage to exterior. Weather conditions were stable. Wind was moderate. Temperature was approximately 60 degrees. No unusual observations were recorded. July 12, 1978. District supervisor received request from university research team seeking permission to access historical fire lookout sites. Request included the Bitterroot Tower as a study location. Approval was granted with standard wilderness protocol requirements. Research team consisted of 4 individuals. Equipment included cameras, measurement tools, and documentation materials. Entry to the tower was planned for mid-July, pending weather clearance. July 18, 1978. Research team reached tower site at approximately 1400 hours. External inspection completed. Door was found to be secured. Standard entry procedure attempted. Door did not open. Team lead noted that the door appeared locked from the interior. Latch mechanism was engaged. No visible obstruction was present on the outside. Handle turned, but door remained fixed. Attempts to force entry were not made due to wilderness preservation guidelines. Team documented exterior condition with photographs. Windows were examined. Interior visibility was limited due to angle and glass discoloration. One researcher observed that items appeared to be present inside the cabin. Shape and placement suggested recent arrangement rather than abandonment. Specific objects could not be identified clearly. Team departed site at 16:30 hours. Report was filed with district office upon return. Recommendation included follow-up inspection to assess door mechanism and interior status. July 21, 1978. District Maintenance Coordinator reviewed research team report. Decision made to conduct formal inspection. Personnel assignment included 2 rangers and 1 facilities technician. Entry tools authorized due to potential structural or safety concerns. Team departed trailhead July 23rd at 0700 hours. Weather forecast indicated stable conditions. Estimated arrival at tower site was early. Afternoon. July 23rd, 1978. Field notes arrival time 13:15 hours. Tower exterior showed no recent damage. Door remained secured as previously reported. Latch visible through gap. Clearly engaged from inside. Technician examined hinge assembly. Corrosion present but not severe enough to prevent operation under normal conditions. Lock mechanism appeared functional. No evidence of forced entry or external tampering. Verbal confirmation attempted. No response received. Decision made to proceed with entry. Window glass removed from east-facing frame. Entry gained at 13:45 hours. Interior temperature was notably cool despite external warmth. Stove was cold. No ash present. Ventilation appeared normal. Cot was positioned against north wall. Blanket was folded at foot of bed. Edges were aligned. Condition suggested deliberate arrangement. Small table held a metal cup, a compass, and a folded map. Map appeared to be USGS topographic. Folds were crisp, no annotations. Visible. Storage cabinet was closed. Contents included rope, matches, and dried provisions still in original packaging. Items appeared unused. The door was examined from interior. Latch was engaged. Mechanism was functional. No obstruction prevented standard operation from inside. Key was not present in lock or on interior hooks. Standard lookout protocol required key to remain inside when tower was unoccupied. Key was not located during search. Door latch was manually disengaged. Door opened without resistance. No occupant was found. No sign of recent habitation beyond the arranged items. No logbook entries. No personal effects. Footprints were not detectable on interior floor. Dust patterns appeared undisturbed, except where entry team had moved. Team secured site at 15:20 hours. Door was left functional but unlatched. Departure occurred at 15:45 hours. Incident report, filed July 25, 1978. No explanation provided for interior conditions or missing key. Following the July 23rd inspection, District Administration reviewed the incident classification. Standard protocol required documentation of structural anomalies in abandoned facilities. The tower was categorized under routine maintenance observation. No immediate action was scheduled. The site remained accessible under wilderness travel guidelines. No closure order was issued. August 9, 1978. Backcountry patrol passed through the area during scheduled route coverage. Tower was visible from adjacent ridgeline. Door appeared closed. No personnel were observed in vicinity. Weather was clear. Wind conditions were light. Ranger did not approach structure. Visual confirmation from distance was considered sufficient. Patrol continued along standard route without deviation. August 27, 1978. Hiker submitted inquiry at district office regarding tower access. Individual planned solo trek and requested information on shelter availability. Staff confirmed tower location and condition. No restrictions were communicated. Standard wilderness precautions were advised. Hiker departed trailhead August 29th. Expected return was September 1st. September 2nd, 1978. Hiker failed to check out at trailhead kiosk. Vehicle remained in parking area. District office initiated standard overdue protocol. Contact attempts with listed emergency contact were unsuccessful initially. Search coordinator reviewed planned route. Tower site was included in the probable travel corridor. Ground team was assembled for deployment pending weather clearance. September 3rd, 1978. Search operations. Log team departed 06:15 hours. Composition included 3 rangers and 1 medical support. Route followed standard approach to tower location. Conditions were dry. Visibility extended across drainage systems. Tower was reached at 10:50 hours. Door was closed. External condition unchanged from previous inspection. No signs of recent activity visible from ground level. Verbal hail was issued. No response. Door was tested. Handle turned. Door did not open. Latch was engaged from interior. Team lead confirmed observation. Same condition as July 23rd. Door had been left unlatched during previous departure. Records verified this detail. Entry protocol was repeated. East window access was used. Interior entry occurred at 11:15 hours. Cot was positioned against north wall. Blanket remained folded at foot. Alignment was precise. Table held metal cup, compass, and folded map. Arrangement matched prior documentation exactly. No displacement was evident. Storage cabinet was closed. Contents were inventoried. Rope, matches, provisions, all items present and unused. No hiker was located inside. No evidence of occupancy, no pack, no gear, no disturbance to dust patterns on floor. Door mechanism was examined. Latch remained functional, no internal obstruction. Key was absent. One ranger noted that interior temperature was cooler than exterior ambient by approximately 15 degrees. Ventilation remained normal. Stove showed no recent use. Door was unlatched manually, opened without resistance. Team conducted perimeter search within 200 yards of tower. No tracks, no equipment, no signs of passage through surrounding vegetation. Search area was expanded to cover alternate descent routes and drainage access points. Operations continued through September 4th. Hiker was located September 5th at lower elevation, approximately 4 miles south of tower. Individual was uninjured. Debriefing confirmed hiker had not reached tower. Route deviation occurred due to weather assessment. Hiker sheltered in tree cover and descended via alternate drainage. No tower contact was reported. District office filed incident closure September 7th. No operational changes were recommended. Tower remained under standard observation. No additional personnel were assigned. Site visits occurred irregularly based on the patrol scheduling. Administrative correspondence from late 1978 includes notation that the door latch issue was unresolved. Mechanism appeared functional, but engaged without explanation between inspections. Maintenance reviews suggested possible environmental factors. Wind pressure, temperature differential, or settling of support structure could theoretically affect latch alignment. No definitive cause was identified. Skepticism regarding unusual site conditions typically centers on environmental mechanics and observer interpretation. Structures exposed to high-altitude weather experience forces not always accounted for in initial design. Thermal expansion and contraction can alter door fit over seasonal cycles. Metal components shift fractionally, wood swells or contracts. These changes are measurable, but not always predictable. Latch mechanisms in older installations often lack precision. Tolerances degrade. A door left unlatched may appear secured if frame alignment shifts even slightly. Gravity and vibration contribute to latch engagement without human involvement. Dust accumulation patterns are unreliable indicators of activity. Air movement, humidity variation, and particulate density affect deposition rates. An undisturbed surface may reflect recent settlement rather than long-term absence. Human memory of procedural details is subject to error. Rangers operating under routine conditions may recall securing a door when in fact the action was deferred or incomplete. Documentation reflects intent rather than verified action in some cases. Observational bias influences interpretation of interior arrangement. Objects placed deliberately appear more intentional than those positioned by chance. A folded blanket may result from standard storage practice rather than recent use. Missing items, such as keys, are common in remote facilities. Loss occurs through misplacement, removal during prior inspections, or accidental displacement. Administrative tracking of small objects is inconsistent across decades. Time delay between inspections allows multiple variables to compound. A door left functional in July may behave differently in September due to cumulative environmental stress. Observers assume continuity when conditions have shifted incrementally. Wind patterns at 8,000 feet are complex. Gusts exceeding 50 miles per hour can exert force sufficient to manipulate unsecured components. A latch may engage through vibration rather than deliberate closure. These factors collectively account for most observed conditions. Rational explanation does not require certainty, only plausibility within known physical parameters. One detail remains outside standard environmental interpretation. The interior arrangement, cot, blanket, table items, matched precisely between July 23rd and September 3rd. Identical positioning across a 6-week interval, despite door access and perimeter disturbance during search operations. Rangers, entering on September 3rd, documented placement before disturbing the scene. Photographs verified alignment. Comparison with July, images showed no variation in object configuration. Environmental forces sufficient to engage a door latch would also disturb lightweight items such as a folded map or positioned cup. Wind entering through open windows during the interval between inspections should have caused displacement. No displacement occurred. The door's repeated engagement without key presence is explicable through mechanical means. The arrangement's consistency is not. Standard administrative review does not address this discrepancy. Incident reports note the condition, but offer no mechanism for preservation of interior state across unsecured intervals. Logical frameworks account for individual variables. They do not account for simultaneous occurrence of multiple improbable conditions in a single location. The tower was not removed. Decommissioning procedures did not include dismantling of the structure. It remained listed in backcountry infrastructure records through the 1980s. Seasonal patrols continued. Incident documentation from later years makes no reference to the 1978 observations. Administrative turnover and evolving management priorities shifted focus away from historical anomalies. The key was never recovered. No explanation for its absence entered formal records. The tower stood as it had since 1934, elevated above granite and weather, door facing south. Nothing conclusive emerged from the files. What was noted was noted. What was absent remained so. Standard closure procedures were applied. The case was archived without further action recommended, but the archive remains open. If you found value in this examination, consider following for additional records from the American Wilderness File.